Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to you. My name is Nick and it's time for the 2-week roundup of the channel. Now you might have noticed less material has been going up recently. Well, if you haven't been following the channel news vlogs, unfortunately I've had to go back to work, so I can't put up as much as I want. So that means the frequency of these 2-week roundups might change ever so slightly. The channel isn't closing at all. I will be putting the odd video up, but sometimes it might be greatly reduced. It's just the way it is. It's basic economics, but we can still have quite a bit of fun, still quite a lot of fun to be had. So thank you for your continued support and thank you for continuing to watch. Now before we come to the top 6, trying to put the my favourite videos in some kind of order that we've looked at this period. Unfortunately there's been no pinball videos this time round, so apologies for that, just did not have time to fit it in. But Pinball FX3 released new tables. I'm sure I'll try and squeeze it into the schedule somewhere. So it's sort of like a new chapter, a sort of like a reworking. Now I did have some messages, like I always do, from people saying, is the channel dead? Well, it's only been a couple of days I haven't put up any videos, so what's going on there then? It's just a slight change. So yes. Now there are quite a few videos that didn't quite make the top 6 this time. I always wonder what to put in, and there's some that if I did it again probably would make it. If you've got a different top 6 to the ones I say, then please put them below based on the videos I've actually reviewed. So Tai Chi Tortoise by Zeppelin Games in 1991. I was on the ZX Spectrum, didn't quite get there. It's quite a cute platformer, very, very difficult like a lot of them are, so I wouldn't mark it down for that. I think it really was trying to get the Ninja Turtles license, but going for Tortoise instead because I didn't have to pay anything. Tai Chi Tortoise is a very difficult platform. I didn't quite make the top 6. Come quite late in the Spectrum's run in 1991, so perhaps I marked it down ever so slightly for that. So it didn't quite make the top 6, but it was battling for 6th place. Another one was a Pac-Man clone, also on the ZX Spectrum, called HEDGES by MICROMEGA in 1983. A good company which also gave us Lunar Crabs and Death Chase, so check out those reviews if you haven't already on the channel. You controlled a stickman rather than a Pac-Man going around a maze. What it did was quite well. The AI on the Ghost was quite good, but it didn't offer enough new stuff for me, but it's quite a good game to track down. And another one was on the Commodore 64 1942, a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up converted by the arcades. This was converted by Elite in 1986. I've been told there's a few versions, or at least another version to this one about that's got slightly better music. I thought it was a little bit tricky, although it was presented quite well, this particular version, but it's the difficulty that done it for me. So let's come to the top 6. Yeah, I do my own music on this channel. Let's just check the mic's working. It is. That's the sort of setup we've got here, folks. So in 6th place, I put on the Commodore Amiga FIFA International Soccer by EA in 1994. This was battling against Tai Chi Tortoise for the 6th place and maybe Haunted Hedges as well, but I put it there. It's not quite as good as the Sega Mega Drive version I reviewed a few weeks ago, and it's not as good as Sensible Soccer in my opinion, and it's not quite as good as Kickoff 2 in terms of playability, but this was on the Amiga 1200, so the AGA chipset. It plays sort of like okay, with lots and lots of practice you'll probably get good on it. It's presented well. I was a little bit underwhelmed compared to your top-down games, but it is trying something else at least, so I boosted it up a little bit for that. It was the first of the FIFA soccer games to actually be released. I think only one come out on the Commodore Amiga. 1994, and it's more of a hit on PlayStation and Xbox, and there's a few of them on the Sega Mega Drive as well, which we'll perhaps come to in the weeks going ahead. So a pretty decent kickabout there, but there are better games out now, and probably hasn't aged too well when you look at all the other games in between, whereas Kickoff 2 I can jump into that anytime, and also Sensible Soccer. Sensible Soccer is a game I need to look at the Mega Drive at some point as well. In 5th place, on the Sega Mega Drive, Jennifer Capriati's Tennis by Telenet Japan in 1992. A fairly competent tennis game. All the shots are there. Like many tennis games I tend to review on the channel, I got beat 6-love, because you need to put in the practice. But basically you can control Jennifer Capriati, but you can control male tennis players as well, quite generic, and there's doubles games and different tournaments. It does reward practice, it's quite addictive, and basically the speech is good on this one. The umpire saying what the scores are each time, and you can have a bit of fun out of that one. It's tennis, it's tennis. There's quite a few other tennis games I need to look at the Mega Drive to get a true comparison. I think Andre Agassi is just one, but this goes for sort of like cartoony graphics rather than anything simulated. But even so, there is enough variety in this game for you to come back. Different courts as well, and the ball reacts different on those courts. So Jennifer Capriati tennis, there we go. I need to wear an earpiece. Right, in fourth place, bit controversial this one, because whenever someone reviews this particular video, there's people about idiots that have got multiple accounts and mark it down. You'll see it on multiple videos, but that doesn't bother me in the absolute slightest. It's Ghosts and Goblins arcade version on the Commodore 64 by Nostalgia in 2015. I've already reviewed the original version of Ghosts and Goblins on the Commodore 64 around about 1984. That one come out. This is a reworking on that with better graphics and arguably better sound. I think it plays better, but on this one I did play it with all the cheats on, because the idea really, as opposed to the review of that game, is very few people have seen what happens at the end of Ghosts and Goblins, myself included before that. And I wanted to get to the end. And by Jiminy Jones, we certainly did. It was even tricky with some of the cheat songs. There's some really perilous ledges to try and time and jump. If you miss that, you fall right down and lose a life. But we did actually complete that, so check that one out. Ghosts and Goblins arcade version. I did like it because I actually saw the end. So thank you for people that watched that as well. Now, Nostalgia 2015, I don't know too much about that particular company, but there's videos that go up that if you support the game, people give it a bashing and vice versa. So there's some sort of background there, some sort of fight, but you know, I don't involve myself in that at all. I just want to bring you the game. What does it look like? What does it sound like? Then what people want to comment. If they go into an argument like that, I'm not really concerned. I'll leave that with them, but I'm not going to get dragged into it. Okay, so in sixth place was FIFA International Soccer on the Commodore Amiga by EA in 1994. Fifth place on the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis, it was Jennifer Capriati Tennis by Telenet Japan in 1992. And in fourth place, Ghosts and Goblins, the arcade version by Nostalgia in 2015. So what's in the top three? Well, three great games. You might not have them in this order. You might not even have them in the top three. But in third place, on the Sega Mega Drive again, a brilliant shooter on the Amiga, and I loved it on the Mega Drive also, although it's not quite as good in my opinion. It was XENON 2 MEGABLAST by Imageworks in 1992. The music on this one is really good, really thought out level design. At the end of each stage you can go into a shop to buy upgrades there, and you can also pick them up in the stage itself. Very, very difficult like a lot of these are. If it was slightly easier, I might have put it in second or first place. But a pretty good game regardless. That XENON 2 Mega Blast. I don't think the original XENON game came out on the Mega Drive, but lots of good shooters for me to look at on that particular system. I've chose XENON 2 to look at quite early on because, as I say, I've got knowledge of that from playing it on the Amiga, and you won't be disappointed if you actually get this one. In second place on the ZX Spectrum, it's a bit of nostalgia here. If you didn't own a ZX Spectrum, you might not look at it as being as good as what I looked at it. It's West Bank by Dynamic Software in 1985. It's set in the Wild West. You're a bank clerk in a bank, and you're defending it against goons. But basically, any one of 12 doors can open, so it's sort of like reaction. If someone's paying money into the bank, you let them come in. If it's someone trying to hold up the bank, you shoot them. There is a guy with hats, lots of hats on. That did confuse me a little bit, but I was told in the comment section if you shoot his hats off, there'll be money underneath, or a bomb, and then you have to shoot him. As soon as all the 12 doors of customers have come through and paid money in each of those doors, it's the end of the level, and then you go to some high noon showdown. So it's West Bank. If you're into your Western games, pick this one up. Another good Western game that I reviewed quite a while ago was The Wild Bunch, probably my favourite, and that's sort of like a role-play sort of game. So West Bank by Dynamic Software in 1985. And in first place, I'm always a sucker for racing games. It's no surprise that this made it there. It's Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco Grand Prix by Sega in 1992. Now, I've still got to review the first one, Super Monaco Grand Prix, which didn't have the Ayrton Senna license, I don't think. So we'll look at that quite shortly, if I can fit it in somehow, as I try and keep this thing running. If I can't, then obviously I'll let you know. If I need to take some time off, I'll let you know. But we'll keep it running for the time being. First place, Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco Grand Prix. Basically, it's larger than the first game. You've got a number of tracks. There's a World Championship. You can do automatic gears. You can do 4-speed gearbox or a 7-speed gearbox. There's a tool that makes the car go slightly quicker. A qualifying lap first of all, and then you're into the main race. You can select it on beginner or expert. or you could go to Ayrton Senna's 3 tracks he designed himself into like a sort of Senna Grand Prix, and there's a lot there. Overtaking is a little bit tricky. All the cars that you're racing against are the same colour, which is a little bit awkward, but I can let that one go. The frame rate on this is fantastic, the speed is good, and it's fair. You can overtake on the outside off the track sometimes. It's not a simulation, it's arcade, so you don't have to slow down too much. You can pretty much floor it all the way around, although some corners you have to turn in quite early, or you go off the track and bump into an obstacle, bump into too many things and the car will break, and it's the end of the race. No official F1 license with this one, so Ayrton Senna's the only official driver you'll see in it. You'll see names like N. Jones. Yeah, so there we go. A very, very good game and worthy of first place. Look forward to reviewing the original one, Super Monaco Grand Prix. So, just to recap this time round then, is third place XENON 2 MEGABLAST on the Sega Mega Drive by Imageworks in 1992. In second place on the ZX Spectrum was Westbank by Dynamic Software in 1985. And in first place is Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco Grand Prix 2 on the Sega Mega Drive in 1992. Thanks for watching the videos. As always, it is appreciated your support, especially those people that stop to comment and share it on other social media platforms. It helps the channel grow. Hopefully one time in the future I can have another push at doing this full time, but quite some distance off, so it's just for fun really. From my figures it looked like to do this full time alone you need 2.5 million to 3 million views a month, and that just, yeah, no, we're just a long way off that. But you know, it's all for fun, it's all about looking at the games, it's not all about money at the end of the day. So yep, till next time then, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.